Howdy, welcome to Viking Preparedness. I'm Pastor Joe Fox. Preparedness can be expensive. How do we pay for it all? Surviving day to day on limited funds is difficult. How can we even think about having money left over to pay for preparedness? There are other factors in survival economics, but today I'd like to look at, hey, how do we make it day to day and still have money left over to set aside for these survival preparations? Our country is tanking economically. We're going down. Many of you, probably most of you watching this, have jobs today. You may not have a job a month from now. And so the question we're going to look at is, how do we make it now on less money? Because right now, the system runs on money. There are other forms of economy, things like, instead of money, things like, time or calories, and we may look at that later. But the answer to how you can live on less money is one word: discipline. You have to exercise self-discipline. Now, I don't want to hear you whine and I don't want to hear you moan. You can make it on less. You can make it on less money than you are right now. And you know what? In the future, you're probably going to have to make it on less money, and you will. You will make it. And so why not start now? Because if you start now living on less money, then you'll have more money set aside that you can pay for some of these preparations that you've wanted to. Things like buying a good water filter or a grain grinder, or how about this, that piece of land, that is just so far out of reach right now for you economically. If you start saving money by living on less, you'll have that money. Now, I'm a pretty big fan of Dave Ramsey. He's a economic guru on the radio. You can hear him on the radio. I don't agree with him on everything. He's flat out wrong on gold and precious metals, and I have a credit card and I use it responsibly. But he has this saying that he says, and it's live on less than you make, live beneath your means, spend less than you make. And it's a great concept, and we should all do that. You need to live, hear me on this, on just 50 to 60% of what you make. You need to give 10% of your money back to God right off the bat in tithes and offerings. You should take 10% of your money and put it in long-term investments, investments that you're not going to touch until you stop bringing money in, until you stop earning money. And then you need to take about 20 to 30% of your money and save that for major expenditures, things like the transmission going out on your car, or the fact that you need a new washer, or hey, you maybe need a down payment on something in the future. Now, that leaves just 50 to 60% of what you're bringing in to live in for your day-to-day expenditures. And right about now, you're thinking, Pastor Joe, you're smoking dope, or Pastor Fox, you don't understand my personal situation. And I'm just going to take you back to that one word: discipline. You can do it. You can spend less. What's that grandma saying? Make it do, wear it out, use it up, or do without, something like that. Hey, the bottom line is stop consuming. We live in a consumer economy. It depends on people spending money and putting money into the system. Starve the beast. Stop shopping as much as you do. Stop spending money like you do. When I was an avid backpacker, we had a saying: take care of the ounces and the pounds will take care of themselves. And we would do things like take a toothbrush and saw the handle in half so we could save however many pieces of an ounce that is. But the same thing applies to money. If you take care of the pennies, the dollars will take care of themselves. Now, no whining. I don't write me comments about how you can't do it, or I don't understand your situation. Start taking some proactive steps now, and you will see some amazing gains in the money department. Remember, first and right off the bat, 10% of your money, that's just a start to give back to God. I mean, hey, it's all yas anyway, right? So why don't you just start there? That's a huge step for most Americans, but I tell you, you will see some benefits from that. All right, let's look at some major common expenses in the American household and see some things we can do. The first one is food. Food is expensive. It's a big part of everybody's budget, and it's becoming more expensive. I would tell you right off the bat, stop eating out. Just stop. Full stop. Don't eat out. Don't buy any food out. For lunch, take a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and an apple. Instead of going out to eat, why don't you cook a meal at home? Invite friends over. Talk about Jesus. You know, what a concept. Cook your own food. Take the time to prepare your meals. Don't buy microwave meals, frozen entrees, or breaded anything. Stop. Just make your own food. It'll taste better. It'll be better for you. It'll be more nutritious, and it'll cost a lot less money. Do you have any idea how many potatoes you could buy for the same price as, you know, a supersized thing of fries in some burger joint? Or do you have any idea how much cheaper actual potatoes are when you just buy it like a potato than when you buy it already sliced and frozen in a big bag that goes in your freezer? Prepare your own meals. The more work you do to your food to make it edible, the better it is for you and the cheaper it will be. Right now, you should not be buying any vegetables. Do you have a garden? A vegetable garden? Why not? Did you mow your lawn in the last month? That space could be used to produce food instead of mowing it. Well, you know, Pastor Fox, I live in an apartment. Okay, look at container gardening, or look into community gardens or something like that. Don't whine. Don't tell me why you can't. Just look into things that you can do. Start taking some steps now, and you will see some amazing results of your efforts. Learn to hunt and fish and trap, and then eat what you get. Butcher your own meat. The only reason that hunting and fishing and trapping is expensive is because people read all those magazines and they think they need all the latest, neatest gee whiz gear. And I'm telling you, you don't need that to be successful. Just get out there and do. Learn to hunt, learn to forage, learn to grow and produce your own stuff. Weeds. Learn to eat weeds. You know, learn to identify and prepare the wild edibles in your area. Just yesterday after Sabbath services, we were walking around our church and we were identifying, my wife and I were identifying to people all the different edible plants that were right there. Some of them are really good. There was a little boy today that was just munching on sorrel when we were up there doing some work. So learn what they are. We eat a lot of weeds here at my house, High Prairie Acres, probably 5 times a week. We'll eat some weeds with our dinner, and that's what I call it, but we'll probably have a video on that later. Little things can bite you. Things like buying that latte every day at work or in town, or buying a Coke every time you go into town. Stop doing that. Learn to drink water. It's the warrior beverage. Hey, you don't even need to buy bottled water. You know, you can just bottle your own water. And I talked about that earlier. Utilities are a huge bill in most people's cases. Things like air conditioning. You know, it's summer where most of you all, I'll tell you this, turn your thermostat up. Set your thermostat in your house so the air conditioner doesn't kick on until it's about 80 degrees. In the wintertime, set the thermostat so that your heat doesn't come on until it's 50 degrees. You know, you can wear light cotton clothing, walk around barefoot in your house, and you'll feel okay. In the wintertime, wear long underwear, wear a hat. My wife draws the line when she has to put gloves on in her house in the wintertime. But you can do things like that to save yourself. And the other thing it does, it gets you used to the weather. You know, when we have a house that is 40, 50 degrees difference in temperature than it is outside, that's not healthy when we go back and forth. And if you want to live a preparedness lifestyle, you need to get comfortable being outside. And so the closer you keep your house to the outside temperature, the better off you'll be. Saving money on electricity. We all know to turn off the light when you're not in the room, but how about you start doing it? You know, it's amazing when I'm a firefighter, so I drive around at night, go into scenes of accidents or other fire calls, and it's amazing all the lights that you see on in all the houses. You know, every room in the house has a light on at night. You don't need to do that. Turn the lights off. All those little red lights, like the one on this camera right here, when you turn off the lights at night, turn them off too. An easy way to do that is just plug all your stuff into power strips and turn the power strip off, and that will save you some electricity. Speaking of those little devices, you know, how much is your computer service costing you? Here at High Prairie Acres, we're spending $20 a month for dial-up. Now, that comes with some downsides. We have to go to a Wi-Fi hotspot to upload videos, to watch videos, and things like that. But we're paying $20 a month. What's your TV cable or satellite bill like? We don't have one, right? We don't have a TV. Kill your TV. You don't need it. What's your cell phone bill like? A way to solve that problem is to buy one of those disposable cell phones and the cards with minutes on them, and then use your cell phone for a telephone instead of a social media device and a GPS and a camera. I know, what a concept, right? But you don't need to spend, I'm outraged. Outraged is probably too strong a word. I'm appalled at how much some people spend on their cell phone bills. What about gasoline? Gasoline's going up. It's going to keep going up. How many trips to town or whatever, whatever your situation is, do you make a day? How about exercising some forethought and combining all your trips into one? Or how about having somebody else do your shopping when they're in town? Hey, can you pick me up a thing of milk? Or something like that. I live pretty far from the city, and when me or my neighbors go into the city, we typically call each other and say, hey, I'm going to make a run. Do you need anything? And then we'll say yes or no, or we'll ride along, and then that builds, friendships and things like that, and it also saves a lot of gas. You can do something like, if you live in a slightly more urban environment than I do, get a bicycle with a cart on the back or a big basket and use that. Especially this time of year, you can ride a bike a lot of places, or you can walk. It'll make you fit. Many of these money-saving ideas, and you've heard them all before, you just have to do them, but many of them are trading money for something else, and they're exchanging money for time. Okay, they're going to cost you less dollars, but they're going to cost you more time. And, lots of people whine and they say, oh, I don't have time to go to a Wi-Fi hotspot. I don't have time to prepare my meals. I don't have time to ride a bike, into town instead of drive. Yes, you do. You really do. See, you're inside the matrix. You really are. You're part of the system, and your brain is tied up in that, and you view things like time the way they want you to look at time. You're in the system, and you need to come out of her, my people. Free your mind, and the rest will follow. Start looking at things differently. Maybe that's what we'll do when we get into looking at other aspects of economy, like calories. Yah will provide for your needs. You need to trust Him. Now, needs are different from wants, right? And you probably need to learn to identify the difference between the two and be comfortable with needs versus wants. You're still going to have to work. Money or what you need is not going to fall from the sky like manna. You're still going to have to work, but you don't have to work like you do, and you certainly don't have to spend like you do. You can save an awful lot of money by just not spending. And I encourage you all to give that some look, give that a try, and you can then have money left over for other things. I hope this was helpful. I'll see you out there.